Today, we become legends.
Alright, it's time for my second to last alignment chat video. Today we're going to be covering the warriors. This is obviously not your normal tier list style video. It's going to be an alignment chart based on how early and late game each warrior is, and also how ability and auto attack each warrior is. So the x-axis scale here, more towards the right is more late game, more towards the left is more early game, and the y-axis scale is more towards the top is more ability based, more towards the bottom is more auto attack based. Also, real quick before we start, there'll be a new video going up on my second channel about why major nations are neglecting nuclear power in the strive for renewable energy. It goes into a lot of detail about why nuclear energy is the cleanest and safest energy source we have in the modern world, and the risks of it as well. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I'll leave a link to that video down below in the pinned comment and in the description. And if you enjoyed the video, then please do subscribe to that channel. I'm trying to get it off the ground at this point. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. So if you do enjoy that kind of content, I greatly appreciate the support. But let's get into the video. And so let's just jump in and play Amaterasu. So Ama is like probably leans auto attack, but like she does do some decent ability damage. You know, the mirror hits pretty hard, the ult hits quite hard, she relies on the ult quite a lot, but she is like definitely more of an auto attack character, especially in the way she builds. Probably like there or something. And then in terms of early late, Ama's one of the more late game warriors, that's for sure. Probably one of the most late game warriors, to be completely honest, so maybe I'll put her like here, maybe. We have Bologna, another auto attack warrior. She's definitely more auto attack than Amaterasu, that's for sure. Probably about there or something. And then Bologna's quite early game. She's not super early game, because she can definitely still do stuff mid and late, but like Bludgeon is definitely like more of like a lane dominance kind of early game style ability. So we'll drop her like there for now. We may move people around later. Chak, so most people would put Chak just like full ability. And I can kind of see where you're coming from with that, but I'm going to put him a little further down because Chak genuinely can, like, box people with the rain attack speed slow. Like, him himself doesn't work amazing with auto attacks other than his passive, but the fact that he can, like, attack speed slow people so massively with the rain and keep them in range for his autos, it actually does make him, like, slightly okay at boxing people. Obviously not on the level of like an Ama or a Bologna, but he's not going to be right at the top. I'm actually going to put him slightly further down. And then Chak's definitely more of an early game god. More early game than Bologna, probably, I would say. Chak's only real use late game is his ult, which granted is quite good in team fights. You know, big AoE knock-up and silence is very good, but the rest of Chak's kit is definitely more like tailored towards that early game. He's quite high damage. Erlang Shen, another auto attack warrior. It seems like all the auto attack warriors are like towards the start of the alphabet, I guess. Because in general, most warriors aren't auto attacking Smite, most are ability. Erlang Shen is like full auto though, like probably the most auto attack warrior out of them all. Like he relies very heavily on his autos for damage, you know. His 3 does damage and his 2 does damage, but they're mostly there for CC so he can get more autos off, to be completely honest. And obviously his ult does no damage, it's just there to taunt and heal, and then he can do more damage with his autos. So I think if we're going to put anyone all the way at the bottom, it's probably Erlang Shen. And then in terms of early late, Erlang does have very good early. He's kind of an all-rounder though. Then again, Erlang late's a little bit sketch because he has like no CC immune ult. He can like get picked off fairly easily later in the game. So we'll skew him a little more early game. Probably on a similar level to Bologna, to be honest. But since he's kind of like an all-rounder, yeah, we'll put him like here or so. Guan Yu, so mostly ability-based. You know, he does have that like AoE cleave in his auto chain, but other than that, not really anything auto-attack based with Guan. So we'll put him like about there on ability, and then he's definitely very late game. Is he more late game than Ama? Thing is, Guan has some early game. That's why I don't really want to put him super far to the right-hand side, because like his 3 is really good for wave clear. He kind of can like hold his own in lane for sure. But Guan is really at his best in the late game where he can start utilizing those heals, that big 2-second stun in team fights, that kind of stuff. To be honest, I think he's probably more late game than Ama. So whether I'm going to put him all the way over here or move Ama, we'll see. But I'll put him slightly further over than Ama for now. Horus, really interesting one. Obviously not designed like your typical warrior, kind of meant to be a support, almost like a physical guardian in a way. He's definitely more ability based. Obviously, technically the gust on his 1 is like an auto attack, and you can do some weird janky stuff with like Golden Blade and things like that with that. But he's not really an auto attacker, let's be real. He's more ability based. And then Horus is a weird one. He's one of those like inverse bell curve, power curve style gods. He's very, very strong early, falls off a bit mid, and then very, very strong late as well, because you play around his ultimate and stuff like that, whereas early game, just his 1 and his 2 hit insanely hard. Like, the base damages on his 1 and 2 are like some of the highest of the warrior class, even though he's meant to be a support. So yeah, definitely a really weird one. I kind of want to put him early, I also kind of want to put him late. There's merit to putting him in both, so maybe I'll leave him in the middle. I think I'll put him slightly skewed early game, just because like his 1 and his 2 are so good early for like big damage, but Horus could definitely compete late game as well. We have Mulan. I don't see Mulan ever. I think I saw like 2 Mulans at release and I haven't seen her since. But she's definitely ability based, not really any auto attacking going on with Milan. And then she feels like an early game god to me. Like her 1 and her 2 do absolutely absurd damage, like more than Horus even. Early game, like I think her 2 is like 120 base damage at level 1, and her 1's about the same, which is just absolutely absurd. You know, most abilities sit around 80 to 100, hers are like 120, 130, it's dumb. So she's definitely like more early game. I kind of feel bad putting her more early game than Shaq, but she really is kind of like an early game warrior. Like she struggles a bit in team fights, but she really like kind of bodies lane. But I guess she's strong like early mid, not like super early, so maybe I'll drop her like here or something. I guess we can compare to Bologna down here. She's more early game than Bologna, I would say. So maybe we'll drop her like there and move Chak over slightly. Yeah, let's do that. And then she's more ability than Chak. Let's put her all the way up here. She's really not like an auto attacker whatsoever. Nike. Once again, I don't see Nike. She was like super popular for a little while, and then Sunder got introduced, I guess, and she got some like dedicated nerfs, and then she just fell off completely. Once again, has like a cleave in her chain similar to Guan, but I don't count a cleave in your chain as you being an auto attack warrior. If anything, it makes her slightly further down, you know, like a pure ability base, because like you're not really auto attacking with Nike all that much. It's just like for supplemental wave clear and stuff like that, so she's definitely more ability based, on a similar level to Horus probably. And then Nike's more late game, that's for sure. Like she can have big damage early with like Rend and things like that, but like you really want to be getting late game with Nike when you have like those big shields or big team fight impact, your passive fully online, that kind of stuff. We'll drop her just next to Guan here. I don't think she's more late game than Guan or Armor, but she's close. Osiris, so probably the least auto attack heavy of the auto attack warriors, I would say, with Osiris. He does rely on abilities a fair bit, you know, like spamming sickles and twos and stuff like that. Probably on a similar level to Amma, I would say. You know, Amma and Osiris are very much kind of like hybrid in a way. And then Osiris definitely more of an early game god. He's like a big fat lane bully as Osiris. Comparing to like Chak and Mulan, probably on a similar level to those two. We'll drop him like here. For mana, so pretty auto attack, but also definitely has some like big ability burst damage at like his 3 and his 2 and stuff like that. More auto attack than like Armor and Osiris, I would say, but not by that much, you know, not as auto attack as Bologna. It's like about here, I would say. And then Vamana's like more late game. Vamana's once again a little bit of a weird one where like he does have decent early game damage and wave clear and can almost be a lane bully in certain circumstances, but you really want to be getting to late game with Vamana when you got your ult and you know you just walk through people like W keying with Ace of Katana or Frostbound and stuff like that. So we'll drop Vamana like here. So Kukulkan, ability based, but one of the more auto attack based of the ability based warriors. You know, he has that extra range on his basics. He likes to basic attack a lot to build rage and things like that. So he's going to be further down than a lot of the other ability based warriors, but he's definitely not a full auto attack warrior by any means. And then Kukulkan is like good at all stages really. I'm probably going to drop him in the middle, I think. You know, he's definitely a lane bully, that's for sure. Like, if anything, I'd say he skews a little bit early game just because he's a big fat lane bully with the rage and stuff like that. But honestly, Kukulkan late game's not bad. You know, big AoE knock up on his ultimate, has anti-heal for team fights, which is often valuable when people have got like full lifesteal online in their builds and things like that. And then, you know, the rage mode transform, getting extra CC off in team fights. Like, if you can play Kukulkan well in a late game team fight, he's actually very solid. So I think I will just drop him like smack bang in the middle, to be completely honest with you. And then, yeah, like I said earlier, like slightly leaning more auto attack than these other ability warriors just because he likes to auto attack to build rage and has that extra auto attack range. Achilles, so like full ability based. The only time you're auto attacking with Achilles is just for AA cancels, which thinking about it is like more than Milan does. Milan doesn't really even AA cancel, she just kind of dumps her ability. So we'll move Milan like up there and we'll put Achilles like slightly further down. Achilles is probably an all-rounder as well. Probably skews early game though, I would say. Achilles late game, like he kind of relies on the execute a lot. Coming from jungle though, he can like do some pretty big damage. But yeah, Achilles generally sort of an all-rounder, but we'll skew him slightly early game. I don't want to cover Horus up too much. Let's just move these guys a bit. I don't want to cover Horus up too much. You can see that's Horus, right? I wish I could like adjust the layers, because if I put Horus in front of that, it'd be fine because I'm covering like Achilles' leg, but I'm covering Horus' face there. Hopefully you guys still understand that that's Horus. That's the one drawback of these charts. Sometimes you want to put people in a very similar area and you end up covering them up. We have Gilgamesh. Honestly, the definition of a hybrid warrior, I feel like. You know, I mentioned that with Osiris, how like he's very much a hybrid warrior, but I think Gilgamesh is like the hybrid warrior. You know, he pretty much gets exactly the same amount of benefit from abilities versus autos. You know, is one, like he can just run people down with like kin size, animosity, things like that, but also dropkick really hurts. So yeah, I think I'm going to drop him slap bang in the middle of there. And then in terms of early late, Probably in the middle, I would say, honestly. Maybe he's just like slap bang in the middle of the chart, Gilgamesh. It could just be because he's so overpowered and it feels like he performs at all stages because of that. But it really does feel like he spikes in the mid game, but is like strong at all stages, which I should probably just put him directly in the middle for that, to be honest. Hercules, so basically full ability, does a little bit of AA cancelling, so we'll put him like slightly further down. And then I would say Hercules leans slightly more early game. You know, he relies a lot on his big bad base damages early game. You know, his ult hits like 800 base, his driving strike's like 365 base, something like that. His healing is more relevant early game because people haven't got anti-heal online yet and stuff like that. And while Herc can absolutely still do stuff late game, this list isn't absolute. You know, I'm not saying like these gods over here can't do stuff late game. You know, Herc hitting a 2-1 combo is going to force beats or kill someone. That's just how it is. I feel like generally, you know, he leans more early game because of like his high base damages and then reliance on healing. King Arthur, yeah, he's just full ability based. Only time you auto attack with Arthur really is like a little bit of AA cancelling and for movement. Like, honestly, you auto-attack for movement more than you auto-attack for damage with this god. So maybe we'll move down Mulan slightly because you really don't get more ability-based than Arthur, so we'll have him as the one, like, at the very top. And then he's probably, like, even more early game than... Actually, is he more early game than Hercules? No, he's probably not. He's more like a mid-game powerhouse King Arthur, so maybe we'll put Arthur there and move Herc over slightly. Something like that. But yeah, Arthur does really kind of struggle late game to kind of like get in, build his energy and things like that. He can get CC'd down quite easily in teamfights late game. Odin, so ability based for the most part. I mean, he has like a little bit of an attack speed steroid in his 3, which is a very underrated part of his kit actually. The amount of times I've seen Odin's fully charge the spear when you're clearing a Fire Giant or a Gold Fury, don't do that. Just charge it once and fire it for the attack speed, buffs your entire team, you're going to clear it way faster. So he has that, so you know, we'll put him slightly further down than the likes of, you know, Hercules and Achilles and stuff like that. And then early late, very much an all-rounder. I don't really have space for him here, unfortunately, but I guess I'll just put him there and hope you guys can kind of still see Achilles under there. Yeah, Horus is slowly becoming non-existent as I put more gods over here, but I feel like this is where Odin has to be. I don't want to put him somewhere different just so I'm not covering people up when I want to put him, you know, where I think he actually should be. Oh, god damn it. Wukong is another ability-based sort of like all-rounder god that I want to put here, but I just can't. There's so many, like... piles of people here. Okay, let me do some rearranging. I'll see if I can spread things out a little bit just so I can get a bit more room to put people here. Alright, there we go. That should do. We got a nice space for Wukong just like right up at the top here now. Let's move Odin down slightly just so you can see that it's Odin. So yeah, he's like very much like an all-rounder, sort of like basically performs at all stages. There's not really a time where Wukong's bad, to be honest. You know, he does solid in lane, has good put, good wave clear, does pretty well in late game team fights. I'd say if anything he skews a little bit more early game, but we'll put him like right in the middle. And finally we have Tyr. Tyr is like ability based early game, that's for sure. Tyr in late game teamfights can do stuff similar to Herc. You know, a fearless power cleave on someone that has no beads is probably going to kill them. But generally, Tyr has like a little bit of a hard time in teamfights. And he's basically full ability. You know, the only time you auto attack on Tyr is AA cancels. More early game than Hercules. Yeah, probably. You know, he's just a big lane bully. You know, he just like heals up, like power cleave. Heal is absolutely ridiculous, just like bodies lane. So we'll drop him like there. And yeah, that'll be the full warrior alignment chart. So we can see in general that warriors are clustering in the ability-based early game category, but we do have some, you know, late game ability-based, some late game auto-attack based, some early game auto-attack based. There's a very good spread here, which generally reflects the fact that warriors are quite a diverse class. And that's why I really enjoy these alignment chart videos. They allow you to kind of like capture a spectrum that you can't really get by just saying this warrior is auto-attack based, this warrior is ability-based. Because, you know, you could say, you know, Gilgamesh is hybrid. Yeah, sure. You could say, you know, Cuchulain's ability-based. But, like, Cuchulain is less ability-based than King Arthur, for example. You know, you can catch a real good spectrum here. You know, like, between the auto-attack warriors, you know, Erlang, very auto-attack-based. Almost all of his damage comes from autos, really. But then you have stuff like Osiris and Armor, and even Vamana to a certain extent, where, like, they actually have some solid damage from abilities and rely on those as well. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for the Hunter alignment chart that'll be coming fairly soon. That one's also going to be ability auto-attack, I think, because Hunters are generally divided mostly by the fact of if they're ability or auto-attack, and then obviously early late game. So yeah, if you want to catch that one, definitely subscribe to the channel. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed this one so I know to make more of these. I'm thinking about making item alignment chart videos as well for those that haven't seen my community post that I made recently. I'm probably going to be doing it on physical damage items, magical damage items, bruiser items, and tank items, and putting them on a spectrum. So if you want to see those, once again, subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe if I haven't said it already. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.